Well, music quite on my little graphic. Hey guys, live just a hair early. We'll wait here just a couple of seconds here. Not sure we're going to get any or maybe some viewers today. It's going to be a pretty short show. I don't have any auctions up live this week. I am going to Mexico Saturday for a week with the wife and some cousin and his wife, Craig and Laura. Nice people. And it should be a good time. So I am going to cover, though, a project I've been working with over the last couple weeks. I'm not going to lie, it's been a hair frustrating, and I do a fair amount of mods. So, but I do appreciate all the hard work everybody has put into this product, especially Glenn. And why can't I think of the name? Turbo Sticks or... Hey, Kyle. Hey, Tito. Thundersticks Studios or whatever they're. Thundersticks. I do appreciate what they've put into this mod for the iArcade. And so we're going to be covering that a little bit today. And it should be interesting. So there'll be no snipes today. Apologize. And next week, we're going to do a little live show from the beach. And we'll have fun with that. But then the week after, and 2 weeks from today, we do have auctions ending. And we have 8 of them up already that are scheduled to go live next Wednesday on the 18th. So we'll have to make sure to be watching for those. But regardless, first thing we have to do here is open up a beer. And this is a Surly Mosh Pit. Why do I drink during the day? I drink during the day on this show because I can. There you go. All right. I love dirty beers. All right. So what are we talking about here today? We are looking at the KVM switch made by Glenn and team over there at I keep saying the name wrong. Anyway, it's the KVM switch with Viper board for the iArcade. I have done the install on my gold cabinet behind me, which you can see right here. Look at that. Very fancy. And I did have some troubles because some of the initial instructions were a little bit tricky for the gold, in my opinion, where it didn't, because my in-out cable didn't come plugged in, left a little bit of some of the pictures are even on the instructions for the gold side were showing the original board, just kind of making reference to things. But regardless, overall, it is a pretty simple install. There's just a lot of wires coming out of that board. Not just this board, but the deck board as well, too. Under here, it's just a slew, right? Because we got 2 spinners, we got a trackball, we have 2 6-button configurations, all these extra buttons. You know, there's a lot of things happening, right? So anyway, with this install, what it does do, as promised, it can run a third-party piece of hardware, which is the Viper in this situation, which is a single-board computer, and it's relatively powerful, and it can emulate games. What more can I say, right? And they even made a special version of Arcade. Is that what they call it? Let's see. It doesn't say on my screen right there. I just turned around and looked at this thing a lot, right? It doesn't say on the main screen. I find that funny now. But sorry for the cameras. They're just terrible on this thing. But the deal is that you can download the games actually directly onto the system from it without having the FTP in or taking the thumb drive in and out. Taking the thumb drive in and out isn't practical either. Not thumb drive. Well, you can use a thumb drive, you can use a hard drive, or you can use the SD card that's even provided in it. So far, I've just been using the standard SD card that's provided in it. I'm still trying to make up my mind how much longer I want to use the Viper or not. I have some extra computers. I have a Viper. Hey, nice shirt. Figures you're having an IPA. Hey, thanks, Joe. Cheers. Anyway, It is interesting with this because I'm kind of happy with the Viper board itself. What I'm not happy with is the sound. there's a lot of problems with the sound. The volume adjuster, when you're in the KVM portion of the Viper, is controlled from down here. There's a little knob. You got to go to the back of your cabinet, open it up, and adjust it that way. Or you can adjust it via software. So you find a happy setting, which, okay, I'm okay with that, okay? You can find a happy setting. You can go into the settings every time if you want to adjust the sound. The volume buttons do not work in Viper mode. They do, however, work in the iArcade mode when you flip over to that. So it's kind of interesting that way. So, I mean, again, I'm okay with that. I know they had to keep the price down on this, and they did not end up using the amplifier for the iArcade. Now, if you have the original iArcade, like this guy over here, my sound amp blew out on that over a year ago. Okay, so I have extra sound thing up on top. I get little pops and hisses and that because guess what? It's a cheap amplifier. And let me emphasize the word cheap amplifier because I think that's what was ended up probably being used in this to keep the cost down because this was reasonably priced in my opinion. They got this out. Very limited release when you think about it, this KVM. It could probably be used in some other things, and I hope Glenn finds ways for that, which is great. But it was a real special thing he did for us by actually committing to the pre-order and shipping these out. So, regardless, I found a workaround. Now, the way I have it set up right now is not necessarily ideal, but it works, and it works well. So let's talk about it. So if you look here on the board itself, right? This is really easy to scroll. This guy here, that is the HDMI out coming from the KVM. You can even see it. It says HDMI to LCD, okay? What you want to do is you're going to tap into that. So you disconnect this, and then you put a 90-degree adapter on there. Pick one up at Amazon. You get two of them for $5.99 here. And then you, for $12, you pick up an audio extractor from HDMI. Now, this isn't rocket science. Maybe somebody else has already done this. This is how you get around. I have a subwoofer like this installed in the bottom of my arcade right now that was already using this. That's how you could tap into it, through the HDMI. Easy cheesy, right? So what this does, though, is you're able to plug this HDMI in between the port cables, right? And the reason why you need this is there's not enough room here. This board in here, I can't get it in mine. In fact, on mine, it already is an L cable. Maybe it's because it's the gold board. It's tight. The gold board goes out further than this or something. So maybe on a standard board, it's fine. But anyway, I had to use a right turn bracket for that, which is cheap anyway. Okay, no big deal. So got that hooked up. Then guess what? All you do is you pick up a cheap Logitech like 2.1 speaker set. Ironically, I don't remember buying this in 2019, which I don't even know where this one is. It's probably in another arcade in my garage. But, oh, it's in my VPX pinball I built from the ground up. That is part of the sound system for it. Plus, I've surround for the whole inner workings of it anyway. But with this, I have a $3 one I got at a garage sale, identical to this. And what's cool about this is it has, you know, like these little speakers, whatever, which sound really good, surprisingly. And it has that. A headphone jack, a power button, and volume control. And this setup works on both sides. So you don't need to use the volume buttons unless you want to on the normal arcade side. They will still work. But this sound setup will work for the Viper and the iArcade. And what I was thinking of doing is splicing into it. I don't know how much wattage. I got to look up some wattage things. But I could hook up the normal speakers if there's enough wattage coming out of these so that it just works, if that makes sense. but I haven't dabbled with that yet. I have disconnected my big sub though, which is kind of a letdown. But hey, I got a little baby sub in there now. How about that? Isn't that cute? Aww. So anyway, these go on sale. They're cheap. They sound really good, surprisingly, especially for an arcade. And you'll be happy with it. I did disconnect the audio cables. I believe it's D and E labeled cable that plug into your speakers. So it got rid of that constant noise that would always go on. I know that it's okay if it's in a loud room. You'll never hear it. But hey, I play the arcade alone a lot. Friends, why don't you come over? And I hear that noise way too much. So, regardless, this works. So let's just take a little look at it in a little bit of action here. Actually, let me go back here once. For now, what I did is I just set the little speakers up on that ledge back here. I haven't wired anything in hard to hear yet. And I just set the subwoofer up here. Actually, it doesn't look that terrible, to be honest. So it's going to be like this until I think about if I want to cut these things up. $3 speakers, but I'd have to replace them anyway. Or not. We'll see. That beer's good. It's real good. All right. So anyway, let's change the camera here to look at just a little bit of a demo. So right now I do not have the sound on. I have turned off the background music because I don't like it in the menu, to be honest. And here are some of the games on here, right? So if we go down, let's just say to Bubble Bobble, right? If I hit the button, everything's fine. I'm hearing no popping, nothing weird like that, okay? It's now quiet. And because I have the sound off, technically, so I'll crank it up. Oh boy, here we go. So let's put a credit in. All its glory. And it sounds good. Sorry for putting the song in your head. You probably won't sleep tonight now. Oh, little Game Boys. Dun, 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 dun. Whoa, I'm acting all crazy. Alright, let's get all that again. So, the system itself so far has been working pretty well, and I've had some decent help from some guys on the iArcade Modders page, where generally a good resource in there. I do appreciate those guys quite a bit. Want to give credit to somebody on here. I want to call you Sony. I don't know if it's Sony or Sony, but you have been very helpful, and I appreciate that. One thing he helped me out with quite a bit is if you saw I play Bubble Bobble, it took up the whole screen. Before, it would pinch it, and he gave me some settings suggestions to fix that. My only problem with that now is if I go and play a vertical game, now that's stretched. So I'm sure there's a setting that I'm not picking up on. If you know how to fix that, please make a mention in the comments or something, because Raiden's not supposed to be stretched out like that. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, besides that, a lot of these ROMs that the system will let you download are non-working out of the gate. And I have not FTP'd in or messed with any of the files. Lots of times you have to load the system BIOS into the file for like a lot of the Street Fighter games and things like that if you're playing them in MAME. So, totally get that. Whoops, hitting all kinds of buttons here. But let's try out another one. I know this one loads up fine. Here's Final Fight. Isn't it wonderful you can play games on here? I was playing Golden Tee on here. You're going to probably want to pull this joystick off if you're playing Golden Tee. But the joystick, I mean, the trackball works surprisingly well. And I did mod. I did use the mystery encoder chip in my other one. But never put the trackball or anything on that side. So never did any of that extra stuff. Because it was always on my gold, right? That tastes good. All right. Hoping you guys can hear that okay. All right, now let's do this now. So the sound is obviously working. Great. And we're going to flip back over to the iArcade. And we'll see how the sound works there without making any adjustment. Look at that. We have sound. Actually, I can still control extra sound volume too on the arcade side. Which actually sounds really good. Boy, I have a lot of games on here for having a stock iArcade. There is no doubt about that. That music sounds like Killer Clowns from Outer Space. You know, isn't that on here? No, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, that's the movie. What was the name of that game iArcade had with the clowns and the fighting? Wouldn't be a platformer. It's been so long since I've dug around in here. Action. What was the name of the clown fighting game? It really was terrible. Let's see here. I'm doing this for Fat Kato in a weird way here. Let me just look it up quick. Clown arcade fight. I'll beat him up. Ninja Clowns. I know I had Ninja Clowns. I'm really confused. Let's put it in all at once. Am I missing games? I don't know. Anyway, it is what it is. So there you have it. That's what we have for today. I can give you a mini preview, I guess, of what we have going up for auctions next week. And again, that's what this channel is mainly about, but I'm always willing to pivot every now and then as needed, I guess. But if we take a look at what we have scheduled for next week, let me pull it up here. All right, we have a Game Gear a lot with Batman Robbie Equal the Dolphin Sonic 2. We have Power Stone for Sega Dreamcast, Space Channel 5 for Sega Dreamcast, Gunbird 2 for the Dreamcast, Gigawing 2 Dreamcast, Virtuoso for 3DO. We have the Nintendo Game Boy Color Pokemon Edition. This is an original, not a reproduction. I just realized, whoa, we got that unlocked. Look at this. I just turn around. I hit the power button on the top for volume, and it's gone. How about that? Anyway, we also have Ghouls and Ghosts replicated by New Wave Toys going up. Everything will be going up for 99 cents on the 18th. It'll be 1 week auction. So make sure to be tuning in then on the 25th to watch these auctions end, and we'll see how it goes. But regardless, thank you for watching. I know it's a short show, but that's just what it is this week. Right? I'm going on vacation, so you guys have fun. I'll be in Mexico. Take care.